What to do when you're emotionally triggered. You've probably been told to calm down, just to breathe, to not let it get to you. And sometimes that advice comes from a good place, but in the moment, it can feel invalidating. Because when you're truly triggered, it's not just a mood swing, it's a full body response. Your chest tightens, your thoughts race, your ability to think clearly disappears. And there's a reason for that. The emotional part of your brain, the limbic system, especially the amygdala, is fully active. It's screaming danger. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, impulse control, and reasoning, is not activated. This isn't a flaw. This is your body trying to protect you. That's why trying to use logic in the moment rarely works. You might know the right thing to do, you might have all the skills, you have probably read about all the different ways to regulate your nervous system, but it seems so hard to implement in the moment. Those skills seem to be locked behind a door that your nervous system has just slammed shut. And so people wait. They wait to feel calm before they respond. They hope that eventually the emotional storm will pass. And sometimes it does, but other times the intensity is too high, and in that window they shut down, lash out, or spiral into behaviors they regret, not because they're bad people, but because they didn't have access to the part of the brain that could help them choose differently. Let's get clear on what a trigger actually is. A trigger isn't just something that annoys you, it's something that hits a vulnerable nerve. It brings up a past experience, a deep fear, or a painful belief. Maybe it's hearing a certain tone of voice, maybe it's someone ignoring your text, maybe it's being told you're too sensitive. It's not the thing, it's what the thing brings up. And those triggers, they come in all forms. Emotional ones like abandonment, rejection, failure. Sensory ones like smells, sounds, or even certain lighting. Situational ones, arguments, holidays, being around people who remind you of someone from your past. Even internal ones, thoughts or sensations that remind your body of something it once went through. Think about someone who grew up in a chaotic household. A raised voice might not just feel irritating, it might send their nervous system into full panic mode, not because the current moment is dangerous, but because it feels just like something that was. Or someone who's experienced emotional neglect. When their partner doesn't respond to a message for a few hours, they might feel abandoned, even if there's no actual rejection happening. The body doesn't know that, it just feels the absence and panics. And when people get triggered, they tend to fall into patterns. Some people lash out, others shut down, some over-explain, trying to fix or appease, some numb out with food, screens, or substances, some spiral into guilt or shame, thinking, why am I like this? All of it is the nervous system trying to cope. There's also the kind of triggering that happens in relationships where a fight about something small becomes something much deeper. It's not about the dishes, it's about respect or not feeling like a priority or being reminded of the feeling of always having to carry the weight alone. These layers show up fast, and if you haven't done the work to name them, they're gonna control you. Some people don't lash out, they go quiet, they disappear emotionally, or they become overly nice, overly compliant, scared to rock the boat. That's still being triggered. That's still fear running the show. It's called fawning, and it's one of the most misunderstood trauma responses. And here's the thing, most people only try to manage it after it happens. They journal after the fight, they process it in therapy a week later, they try to explain their reactions after the damage is done. What actually helps is learning to respond while it's happening, but that takes practice. The brain is plastic, it can rewire, but not by thinking about what you'll do next time. You have to train it in real time, just like an athlete doesn't only watch film, they practice under pressure. This is where role-playing comes in. You work with a therapist or someone safe, and you stimulate the situations that usually set you off. You imagine someone dismissing you or being cold or raising their voice. You sit in that discomfort and practice the skills, not when everything's calm, but when your system is mildly activated. You learn to recognize the physical signs. Maybe the jaw tightens, maybe your breathing gets shallow, maybe you feel the urge to yell or withdraw. And instead of following that urge, you try something different. You ground yourself, you name what you're feeling, you slow it down. I feel like I want to scream, my chest is tight, I'm telling myself they don't care about me, but I know that's a story from my past. You're not trying to make the emotion go away, You're trying to stay with it long enough to let your prefrontal cortex come back online. And this takes repetition. It takes getting to know your own patterns. What situations consistently activate you? What's the earliest sensation you feel in your body when it happens? Can you catch that sensation and intervene early before the spiral? Let's say your trigger is someone interrupting you. You were never listened to growing up, so now every time someone talks over you, you feel invisible and disrespected. In the past, maybe you would shut down or explode, but now you're learning to pause. You take a deep breath, you name it, I'm feeling dismissed, and you either calmly assert yourself or walk away with intention. No reactivity. Or let's say it's a tone, that passive-aggressive tone that makes your stomach twist. It reminds you of someone who made you feel small. Instead of snapping or internalizing the shame, you say to yourself, this feels familiar, but I'm safe. I don't have to shrink. And you choose your response with clarity. Triggers don't disappear, but your relationship to them can completely change. You begin to recognize that your body is trying to protect you, that the panic, the shutdown, the urge to flee, it's your system saying, last time something like this happened, we got hurt. And instead of hating that response, you learn to work with it. You build a toolbox, grounding exercises, movement, breathing that actually engages your vagus nerve, anchoring phrases like, this is uncomfortable, not dangerous, or I've survived this feeling before. You stop blaming yourself for being triggered, and you stop blaming others for triggering you, because that's your work now, not theirs. You become a better observer of your own patterns. You journal before you're in crisis. You notice how you feel in your body when you're safe, so that you can tell when something's off. You train your nervous system like you would train a muscle, slowly, consistently, and patiently. You can't always control the trigger, but you can control how you train your brain to respond. And there's more, because even with all of this knowledge, even with all the practice, you're going to mess up. You're going to react in ways you wish you didn't. You're going to get overwhelmed. That doesn't mean the work isn't working. That means you're human. Can you repair? Can you reflect without shaming yourself? Can you be honest and say, I got triggered and I didn't handle it the way I wanted to? That level of honesty is where transformation lives. Sometimes people think if they're triggered, it means they haven't healed. But healing doesn't mean you never get triggered. It means you know what to do with it. It means you know how to come back to yourself and how to come back to the people you care about. And if you grew up in a home where triggers were constant and no one ever apologized, learning to repair can feel foreign. But it's one of the most powerful tools you can develop, not just for your own regulation, but for the health of your relationships. There's something else too. Triggers don't always show up as big explosions. Sometimes they show up as apathy, as numbness, as disconnection. You're not yelling, you're not crying, you're just not there. It's your nervous system saying, I give up, and it's just as important to learn to recognize. You may need different tools depending on your style. If you get hyped up, anxious, panicky, loud, you might need cooling tools, ice packs, slow exhales, grounding touch. If you go numb or foggy, you might need energizing tools, movement, light, stimulation, even a splash of cold water. Understanding your unique pattern isn't a weakness, it's your roadmap. We could talk about parenting too, because when a child triggers you and you haven't done this work, you're not responding to the child, you're reacting to your own past, and then you're repeating it. That's how cycles get passed down. But when you pause, when you recognize that your kid's tantrum is not your parents yelling at you, you get to break the cycle. You get to choose something new. It's the same in romantic relationships. Your partner's late and suddenly you feel abandoned. Your body reacts and you snap. But it wasn't about them being late. It was about all the times people didn't show up for you. The trigger isn't the enemy. The misunderstanding of the trigger is. This is why awareness is never enough. People will say, I know I'm being triggered, but I can't stop. That's because insight without practice changes nothing. You need rehearsal. You need body-based tools and repetition. And you need compassion for yourself, for the younger version of you who first developed these reactions, for the current version of you trying to do better. You're not broken for being reactive. You're trying to survive. But now you get to go from surviving to responding, because you can't always control the trigger, but you can control how you train your brain to respond.